This is a Fonzie Studio podcast. Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-host. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the 19th episode of Tales from the First Nations. I'm your host, Jay Idle. Perhaps it depends on where you live, but I personally have a very complicated relationship with the wind. See, my apartment isn't particularly well built, so I get a nice steady flow of air coming from everywhere each winter. My little space heaters are almost enough to keep me warm, but it's my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, clinging to me for heat. That's what really gets me through until spring. But those of us who live in places that are not my apartment have other feelings about the wind. It's transported sailors across the sea for centuries. It's given most of us amusement as children playing with kites. We even rely on it for electricity now in our modern era. So, despite my drafty home, I'm grateful for the wind. If you've ever wondered where the winds come from, well, today you're going to find out. I'm going to share a story with you from the Aleut people that tells us about the origins of the wind. The Aleut tribe are also known as the Onangan or the Anangas, and they come from the Aleutian Islands, which are politically divided between the state of Alaska and the Russian administration of the Kamchatka Krai. So, today we're going to hear their tale, the origins of the winds. Long ago, when the world was still very new, there were no winds at all. Neither the gentle breeze of summer, nor the fierce winter gale. Everything was perfectly still. Nothing disturbed the marsh grass on the shore, and when snow fell, it fell straight to the earth instead of blowing and swirling into drifts as it does now. At that time, in a village near the mouth of the Yukon River, there lived a couple who had no children, and this made them very sad. Often the woman would sigh and say, "How happy we would be if only we had a child." Her husband would sigh too and answer, "Yes, if we had a son, I would teach him to stalk bears and seals over the ice floes and make traps and snares. What will become of us in our old age with no one to provide for us? Who will give festivals for our souls when we are dead?" These thoughts troubled them deeply, and on many a long winter evening, they sat in the flickering firelight, imagining how different life might be if only they had a child. One night, the woman had a strange dream in which she saw a sled pulled by 3 dogs, one brown, one white, and one black, and they drew up outside her door. The driver leaned from his seat and beckoned to her. "Come," he said, "sit here by my side, and I will take you on a journey." Wondering and fearful, the woman did as she was told. No sooner had she seated herself than the driver cracked his whip, and the sled rose high into the air. Through the night-black sky they flew, faster and faster, past stars sparkling like frost. The woman was no longer afraid, for she knew that this must be Ingaluk, the moon spirit, who often comes to comfort those in distress. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Suddenly, the sled stopped, and the panting dogs lay down to rest. On all sides, as far as one eye could see, lay a great plain of smooth ice, the glittering expanse broken only by one small, stunted tree. He pointed to it and said, "You who so desire a child, look at that tree over there. Make a doll from its trunk and you will find happiness." Before she could learn more, the woman awoke. So vivid was her dream that at once she woke her husband, and she told him what she had seen and where she had been, and begged him to go find the tree. The man rubbed the sleep from his eyes. "Oh, what would be the point?" he grumbled. "It would only be a doll, not a real child." But the woman persisted, and finally, for the sake of peace, the man shouldered his axe and set out to look for the tree. At the edge of the village, where the snow lay thick and untrodden, he saw a bright path stretching far into the distance. It was now full day, yet the path shone like moonlight, and the man knew that this was the direction which he must take. For many hours he journeyed along the path of light, until at last, on the horizon, he saw something shining very brightly. As he came near, he saw that it was the tree of which his wife had spoken. The man cut it down with his axe and carried it home. That evening, while he carved the figure of a small boy from some of the wood, his wife made a little suit of seal skin, and when the doll was finished, she dressed it and set a place of honor on the bench opposite the door. From the remaining wood, the man carved a set of toy dishes and some tiny weapons, a spear and a knife tipped with bone. His wife filled the dishes with food and water and set them in front of the carved boy doll. Before going to bed, the couple sat and gazed at the doll. Although it was no more than 6 inches high, it was very lifelike, with eyes made of tiny chips of ivory. "I cannot think why we have gone to all this trouble," said the man gloomily. "We are no better off than before." "Perhaps not," replied his wife, "but at least it will give us some amusement and something to talk about." During the night, the woman awoke suddenly. Close at hand, she heard several low whistles. She shook her husband and said, "Did you hear that? It was the doll." They jumped up, and by the glow of their hastily lit lamp, they saw the doll had eaten the food and drank the water. They saw it breathe and his eyes move. The woman picked it up in her arms and hugged it. They played with the doll for some time until it grew sleepy. Then they carefully returned it to the bench and went back to bed, delighted with their new toy. However, in the morning, when they awoke, the doll had gone. Rushing outside, they saw its footprints leading away through the village. They followed as fast as they could, but at the edge of the village the track stopped, and there was no trace of the doll. Sadly, the couple returned home. Although they had not known it before, the doll was traveling along the path of light, which the man had taken the day before. On and on the small boy doll went until he came to the eastern edge of day, where the sky comes down to meet the earth and walls in the light. Looking up, the doll saw a hole in the sky wall covered with a piece of skin. The cover was bulging inwards, as though some powerful force on the other side was pushing against it. The doll was curious, and drawing his knife, he slashed the cords that were holding the cover in place and pulled it aside. At once, a great wind rushed in, carrying birds and animals with it. The doll peered through the hole and saw the skyland on the other side, looking just like Earth, with mountains, trees, and rivers. When he felt that the wind had blown long enough, the doll drew the skin cover back over the hole, saying sternly, "Wind, sometimes blow hard, sometimes soft, and sometimes not at all." Then he went on his way. When he came to the south, he saw another piece of skin covering an opening in the sky wall and bulging the same as the other one before. Again, the doll drew his knife, and this time, wind blew in warmer, bringing more animals, trees, and bushes. After a time, the doll closed up the opening with the same words as before and passed on towards the west. There he found yet another opening like the others, but this time, as soon as the cords were cut, the wind blew heavily in a heavy rainstorm with waves and spray from the great ocean on the other side. The doll hastened to cover up the hole and instructed this wind as he'd done with the others. When he came to the north, the cold was so intense that he hesitated for some time before he dared to open the hole in the sky there. When he finally did so, a fierce blast whistled in with great masses of snow and ice, so that the doll was at once frozen to the marrow and closed that opening very quickly indeed. Admonishing this wind, as the ones before, the doll now turned his steps inward, away from the sky wall, and traveled on until he came to the very center of the earth's plane. There, he saw the sky arching overhead like a huge tent supported on a framework of tall, slender poles. Satisfied that he had now traveled the whole world over, the doll decided to return to the village from which he started. His foster parents greeted him with great joy, for they had loved him and missed him and felt that he might be gone forever. The doll told them and all the people of the village about his travels and how he had let the winds into the world. Everyone was pleased with the winds, because with it came good hunting. The winds brought the birds of the air and the land animals, and they stirred up the sea currents so that seals and walrus could be found all along the coast. Because he had brought good fortune, as the moon spirit had predicted, the doll was honored in special festivals afterwards. Shamans made dolls just like him to help them in their work, and parents also made dolls for their children, knowing that they bring happiness to those who care for them. Children are our future, and whether they be divine dolls or our own flesh and blood, it's important to care for them because they are our future and they are limitless in what they can provide for us and what they can do in their times as they walk on the earth. So treat them gently and with care on their journey, and you'll always be a part of it. Thank you for joining me on my journey and on this podcast. I wish you well and look forward to sharing another story with you next week. Go in peace, return in peace, and may you be well. For more great stories like this one, check out Jaguar Bird on YouTube. It's a fantastic channel with so much wonderful content. And of course, join me here next week for another story on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I will talk to you next time. The theme music is provided by my friend Scott Brocklesby, and our podcast image was provided by Mark Lawton. We will see you next time. All right, that's it. How'd we do, Dawa?
Awesome.
Phones? Excellent. Then I'll share it.